What was your high school's wildest NSFW scandal? The football star at my high school was accused of sexually assaulting a 4-year-old child and went to jail for it based off very little evidence. He was sentenced to 25 years. It was my junior year, and it was his senior year. He had a full-ride scholarship to play football and he, along with everyone else, really thought he'd make it to the NFL. He served 3 years of that sentence when the county's new DA looked over his case and saw that there was basically no evidence, so he was released. This was in summer 2017 and he was officially exonerated last year. Turns out it was his best friend, who looked just like him and lived with him, who did it. Dude is doing really well now. His girlfriend stuck with him through the whole thing and they're married now. There's actually a documentary on Showtime about it that just came out. One of the girls were fucking the IT admin. She was 16 to 17 when that started. Heard an update from an old classmate nearly 20 years later and not only have they stayed together, they're married, got 3 kids and live the upper middle class suburban dream life. Art teacher at my school started dating the prized art student a year after she graduated. They are married with kids now. His oldest son was a grade younger than her at the same school. I actually witnessed this. 2 students with mental disabilities went to the toilet together. Exactly what you think happened. The teachers forced the door open to stop them. End result of this, the parents of both students each argued that neither had the capacity to give consent. Both students were sent to court on rape charges against each other. Of course it was their parents' choice to do this. Charges were dismissed in the end though. But that was one hell of a month for everyone in the know. Our science teacher was a porn star in a past life. Someone in the school found a video she was in his dad's porn stash. It was a huge scandal in our conservative town. She was let go, which sucked because she was really an excellent teacher. It became a national news story. She was on Dr. Phil about it. Despite numerous campaigns by the students, she was never hired back. Students got caught fucking behind the theater by the vice principal. He went on the PA system to remind all students to refrain from doing anything inappropriate while at school or in the theater room. You could hear the entire school erupt in fucking laughter. No one knew who it was though. Not even a scandal, just a widely accepted rumor. English teacher was purported to select one male per senior class to try and woo and sleep with. My friend claimed his older brother was that year's selection, prodding him to strive to do the same. Unfortunately for him, another, uninterested, buddy actually was. Resulting in her petting his arm, giggling at his jokes, bending over in front of him, etc. She left to become a principal at a different district a few years later. An English teacher would make out with a student during his planning period while his wife was teaching classes next door. After school, he would make excuses to his wife about having to stay late at school and meet the student at hotel rooms. He was led out of the school in handcuffs in front of the entire school. Funny enough, the cops gave him the opportunity to go out the back door of the school and not make a scene, but he refused. Funny enough, the cops gave him the opportunity to go out the back door of the school and not make a scene, but he refused. Would you deny me my final exit? My grand parade from out this world in which I have lived? That is not the proper way, sir. Long story short, a student was caught having sex with a sheep at the tiny farm the school ran for the agricultural elective students. Edit. So, since it's been asked a few times, the only slightly longer part of the story was that the class was, as stated, an agriculture elective. Once a student had completed enough required worksheets, they got to go over to the farm and do some work instead of sitting in class writing. Not exactly easy, but it was nice when the weather was cool. This guy had the class for both morning sessions, so he said he'd just stay over at the farm and get a ride back at the end of the next class. Well, amongst other incidents, he was not the brightest bulb in the box. Seems he lost track of time and the next class came walking up to the barn with him balls deep in the sheep. Word was, the sheep didn't seem to notice. If porn had realistic endings. I've worked enough divorce and dramatic civil type cases to know that hot, risky sex ends like this 99.99% of the time. Eventually whatever was making it risky passes and then it's just sex with someone, and if that was the only thing bringing 2 people together, congratulations you former daredevils on your low-core mediocre relationship. This was a year or 2 after I graduated, but there was this one teacher at my high school who was fired for, in no particular order of weirdness. Buying booze for students. Smoking weed with students. Buying weed for students. Buying weed from students. Writing a paper for a student for a different class in exchange for weed. Driving certain students who skipped school to a bar in a different city several hours away. Sending a student a completely unsolicited text that said, I've never wanted to cheat with anyone in my life, but I want to with you. Offering to buy a student a $500 knife and give it to him at school, explaining it thus: if I can walk around campus with marijuana on me, you can walk around with a shipping box with a knife in it. Kiddo, you can't walk around campus with marijuana on you. She was the scripture teacher. That position, at that school, at least when I was there, was as cursed as the defense against the dark arts job at Hogwarts. Either our vice principal was smashing a senior while sexually assaulting another teacher, and when the story got out to the students, the vice principal tried to break into her room to confront her and she ended up passing out from a panic attack. Aww. 2 senior girls were having sex with the town sheriff and his wife, and during a summer morning after leaving the sheriff's house completely wasted on booze, they swerved into oncoming traffic, killing a man on the way to school. Both girls have kids and are married and never showed a glimpse of regret or change of lifestyle after the crash. Edit: was deputy not sheriff, sorry. https://www.tal.com/news/birmingham/2016/02/X_Chilton_County_Sandy.html. Principal sexually harassed a teacher. Gym teacher was fired for being too close to female students. I couldn't get any more details, but I did witness his strange behavior towards females in the class many times. One girl had a key to his office. Students having sex in bathroom per second theater. Nobody ever got caught in the theater as far as I know. There was also a stabbing my freshman year. I didn't witness that itself, but I was in the hallway that it happened on and witnessed the loud and panicked crowd. Edit: for any more people wondering if we went to the same high school, I went to high school in Tennessee. One day we all came to school and the front office, which was surrounded by glass, was shattered and we all just assumed some asshole vandalizing the school. A couple of weeks later, the police came and arrested our principal and one of the vice principals. No one knew why. Turns out that one of our other vice principals, super young dude, maybe early 30s, had made out with a girl in my class, seniors, was 17, who was also the daughter of the varsity football coach. She was dating my friend's older brother, straight degenerate druggie, and the older brother found out and came and threw a rock at the glass building. Our principal and vice principal knew and covered it up, so they go arrested. Eventually the guilt VP was charged and sentenced to a couple of years in San Quentin. He now has a YouTube channel and came out with a book about his time in prison. Edit: couple of months in square, not years. School cop was on patrol one night. Pulled over an 18-year-old senior he knew for speeding. Don't know who initiated it, but they ended up fucking in the back seat of his cruiser and she got off. We all found out when she was telling her BFF. The BFF's mom overheard and told the police department. His punishment? Told he could no longer be a school resource officer. This was back in like 06 to 08. He was fired from his job this past year for failing to go to a 911 suicide call and preventing a fellow officer from going to it for almost 30 minutes. So he also told the guy, whose house the woman was found died in, that he was headed there. Link to the article about him being fired. Edit: spelling. Ain't public education grand? When I was a freshman I started to secretly date a junior boy on the football team. He was embarrassed by me because I never partied and was in AP classes, chubby with big glasses, etc. Anyways, he tried to pressure me into giving him my virginity one night after his mom had taken us out for dinner. When I refused and stood up to go home, he got very angry and physically tried to keep me from leaving his room. I yelled loud enough for his older brother to hear and brother and mom got him off of me. Mom made dude apologize and then drove me home. By the next week of school, a rumor had gone around that I was having anal sex with some of the football team. The junior boy I had dated had been the one to start this rumor, claiming that he had to break it off with me because I was obsessive. The real scandal ended up happening during a math class that I had with him. He would always make a point to sit as close to me as possible and try to make me watch him touch himself. One day I sat in front of him so I wouldn't have to watch that show. During a movie, the lights were dimmed and all of a sudden I feel something wet on the back of my neck, and running down my back. That pervert had jerked off behind me and put his handful of cum down the back of my shirt. I jumped up and make a commotion. Fortunately I had a couple other girls who also came forward from different classes with this guy, all younger females, all with perverted stories about his behavior towards them. My dad made a holy hellish scene until the boy was suspended. Much more happened but I tried to shut it all out. Shit was not flattering like dude tried to play it up as, but fucking nasty. One kid got caught masturbating, in science class, then a week later got caught again in the same class. His best friend, Freshman year, would go to the bathroom every day and be in there forever. Eventually our teacher sent someone to check on him and he comes back and straight tells everyone that he was in there sticking his dick in a hole in the wall. Not like a glory hole but a hole in the concrete wall that a toilet paper roll got ripped out of and didn't have an opening, just jagged rock. One girl sent nudes that got around the whole school, one girl had a video of herself sticking a Coke bottle up herself sent around, and one girl a video of her fisting herself that got sent around. But my favorite was this sophomore girl got caught giving her BF a blowjob at school the day before prom. She got expelled and he almost got arrested because he was 18. They broke up and we ended up dating a couple years later. We've been married 7 years now. Oh God, too many. A youngish female teacher was sending nudes to a 16-year-old student. They may have had sex, really not clear on that, but they almost definitely did some sort of foreplay in her classroom. It came out later that this wasn't the first time she did this. There were multiple other boys, out of high school at that point, who came out about dating her whilst in high school. He was out of high school, but a 19-year-old who had gone to my high school, I was 16 at the time, was arrested for talking to girls as young as 12 or 13 in sex chat rooms. Turns out, the one he finally went to meet up with was an undercover cop. Oops. Allegedly, he had some sort of butterfly fetish and showed up to the sting in a butterfly costume. One of the gym teachers had a hidden camera in the teacher's bathroom. He was recording women using the bathroom for years. The police found hours upon hours of voyeur porn on his laptop. A young teacher had actually been let go a few years earlier for accusing him of being up to something creepy.